And we are live. How you doing, folks? This is Mongo, your friend from SoCal. It's a beautiful, lovely Friday here in Southern California. This is, a wonderful time of the year. We are in the changing of seasons again, folks. I mean, it's kind of been changing already, I think. Let me just pop on to my mobile device here and just kind of take a listen to see how this sounds. Oh, it looks good and it sounds good, so it works for me. So, folks, how you doing? I understand that I shouldn't be surprised if nobody's in here. It's kind of just a spur of the moment thing. I'm just, it's been a good week. Well, it's been a week. I don't know if I should call it good, but there's been a lot of stuff that I've done that I have been very happy with. Just to kind of tell you, take a little peek into the life of Mongo, at least so far. Been a lot of yard work, a lot of use of weed whacker. And for a guy like me, it's pretty much business as usual, I guess. I've had a chance to make a few videos, put out a few videos. I'm trying to limit or be conscientious. I'm trying to be conscientious of my use of the words, because I use those a lot. At least I notice when I watch some of those live streams. Bad habit. So let me share the share screen and show you some of the things that I have done this last week on YouTube. Let me see here. Okay, so this is the page here. This is Mongo's Big Thinks. Like the little channel art. Got the little icon, I guess. I don't know, picture. Anyhow, so oh yeah. I did a few streams. I've done a few streams here and there. We had a nice little new intro. I'm going to play that again just because I like it. It's fun. It's a fun intro. Ain't that nice, people? Ain't that nice? Okay, let me jump on back here. So we had a few videos released these last couple of days, and it's been a very fun experience. Personally, it's been a fun experience for me because very often I get people who tell me, "Hey, you're such a nice voice." So I get people telling me, "Oh, you got a nice voice. You ever think of doing radio? You ever think of doing audio books or things like that?" And personally, I might have said, yeah, I might have said, man, I might have said, eh. It's really kind of been something that has been becoming more and more interesting to me personally. A bit of backstory, I guess, to kind of further illuminate my interest in this kind of a thing. Pretty much the last 1 or 2 years, I've been listening to audiobooks on a very massive scale. Personally, I really enjoy audiobooks. They're very convenient, at least for me. I said sorry. So basically, to summarize it for you guys, when in my line of work, I do a lot of yard work, whether it's mowing lawns, whether it's cutting grass in various different forms, whether it's trimming trees, cutting up branches, all of those kind of things. So when I do those types of physical labor, it's very easy for me to, pop in some earbuds, find my favorite podcast or audiobook, and pretty much just listen to it for a good 3 or 4 hours. Sometimes it's very short little bursts depending on the job. Other times I could listen to an audiobook for 8 hours a day. It's a very fun, very convenient kind of thing. Hey, it's the AFK Bard. A very cool YouTube channel there. I've had the chance to speak with her once. But yeah, she's pretty cool. I like, by the way, I like AFK Bard. I like the name because, and maybe this is incorrect, but AFK can mean away from keyboard and, the bard, so it's away from keyboard. Anyhow. And we got Thomas Gilkey. Cool dude. And AFK sent me. That's cool. That's pretty dope. I like that. I mean, thanks for popping in. I'm just relaxing. Before I watch the upcoming live stream on Thomas Gilkey's channel, Thomas's channel. I am just chilling out here. And let me see. Let me just let me and just kind of just showing off some of the stuff that I put out this the last couple of days. I had a very nice time making a little video for the late Sir Ian Holm, and it was just a very short little 2-minute video, which was just a few little excerpts from the first page of the book, The Hobbit. And of course, the other day. Oh, all right. Did I go silent? I might have gone silent. I removed myself from the stream, so that might have been it. Anyhow, so yeah, I had a fun time making this little video. I guess I'll play it. It's only 2 minutes. Let me attempt to read this in a voice that produces a great amount of Mr. Frodo. Mr. Frodo. In a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit, not a nasty, dirty, wet hole, filled with the ends of worms and an oozy smell, nor yet a dry, bare, sandy hole, with nothing in it to sit down on, or to eat. It was a hobbit hole, and that means comfort. It had a perfectly round door, like a porthole, painted green with a shiny yellow brass knob in the exact middle. The door opened on a tube-shaped hole, like a tunnel. A very comfortable tunnel, without smoke, with paneled walls and floors tiled and carpeted. Provided with polished chairs and lots of pegs for hats and coats. The hobbit was fond of visitors. The tunnel wound on and on, going fairly, but not quite straight into the side of the hill. This hobbit was a very well-to-do hobbit, and his name was Baggins. The Bagginses had lived in the neighborhood of the hill for time out of mind, and people considered them very respectable, not only because most of them were rich, but also because they never had any adventures or did anything unexpected. You could tell what a Baggins would say on any question without the bother of asking him. This is a story of how a Bilbo Baggins had an adventure and found himself doing and saying things altogether unexpected. Hmm. All right, so yeah, there was that was that was a fun video to make. I think earlier in the week, actually last week, I had kind of done a bit of a live stream, and I think that was the day that Ian Holm passed away. So during that live stream, I was kind of just screwing around, and I was thinking, well, maybe I'll just pull up a little tidbit of The Hobbit because I really love that book. Really great book to read when I was growing up, and I still love The Hobbit today. Still love reading it and all of that. Good narrative voice. Well, thank you. I love compliments. Everyone loves compliments. Bilbo was Bilbo was Bill bolder than any hobbit that came before him. Thank you for that. I needed a good laugh, you know. Oh goodness, Bill Boulder. He was Bill Boulder than any hobbit before. Thank you. Oh goodness, thank you for that. I gotta take a drink of water after that. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, yeah. But anyhow, there's been quite a bit of fun that I've had this last week. Basically, since that video, I felt that hey, maybe I want to try it with another little thing. So I got this wonderful little book that I loved back as a kid that I would see all the time. It was The Wildlife of Star Wars, a field guide. Very great book. I'd show it to you guys right now, but yeah, we don't need show and tell up in here because we don't need to make things too complex. Anyhow, so it's a really great book, wonderfully illustrated. It was one of those books that really helped to build the world and capture your imagination. Again, this is another very short video. I'll pop it on. If you guys want to pop out, no biggie. No biggie at all. This was a very fun little fun video to make. Fun video to make. Taken from The Wildlife of Star Wars, a field guide. The bantha. These large and furry mammals, indigenous to Tatooine, are seen in high numbers and are well integrated into planetary life. Remains have been found that predate most recorded civilizations. Highly intelligent and extremely social, banthas travel in matriarchal herds of up to 25 individuals. The bantha tongue is highly sensitive, extremely strong, structurally complex, and dexterous. Contains olfactory glands and used for holding, carrying, and eating and drinking, and in various configurations as a signifier for bantha communications. Bantha horns grow a new segment each year, and they can indicate the creature's environment and health. Thick, crenellated segments usually signify ample food and good health, while thin, cracked, or partially developed segments often signify drought or famine. Male banthas develop thicker and longer horns than females, with males typically completing two horn spirals before they die, while females average one complete cycle per lifetime. The common bantha was once the only known species on Tatooine, but scientists are discovering others. The dwarf bantha is much smaller, more skittish and shy. Sure-footed, it lives in the canyons and cliffs of the remote outer deserts. The dune bantha is rangier, more slender, and less furry. It lives in the equatorial zones and can survive very high temperatures and the relative unavailability of water. When a Tuscan Raider youth reaches the age of 7, a bantha of the same sex is ceremonially presented to the child as its partner in life. The young raider learns to care for, raise, and ride its rapidly growing friend. Upon maturity, Tuscan Raider males saddle up their bantha and head into the desert for initiatory ceremonies and tasks. When Tuscan Raiders marry, the couple's banthas also mate, and afterward the bonds between the species become inexplicably close. When a Tuscan Raider couple has a son or daughter, then their banthas often produce equivalent male or female offspring. Upon the death of a raider or its bantha, sympathetic suicides and depressions often occur in the species left behind. This has been a short reading by Mongo's Big Thinks. Thank you for listening and have a nice rest of your day. Oh goodness. Oh gosh, that was a fun one to make too. I figured, hey, it's a naturey kind of thing. Maybe go for a bit of an Attenborough kind of voice there, but it was very fun. Again, beautifully illustrated book, and that is The Wildlife of Star Wars: A Field Guide. Uh, Very great book. It was pretty easy for me to find on eBay. So, yeah, definitely. I would definitely recommend you guys check it out. It's very, very great range of different creatures in that book. Now, I guess, might as well show off that last video because, it was a pretty fun one. This was from another book that I really enjoy. This is from A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, and that is basically a collection of 3 stories written by George R.R. Martin, I believe. At the very least, it's definitely approved by George R.R. Martin, famous author of A Song of Ice and Fire. Wonderful series of books. I hope we get the rest of the books in maybe a couple years, hopefully. Anyhow, oh, you're really creative. Thank you. Honestly, honestly, real talk here, real talk, bro. Real talk. That really means a lot. Really makes me feel good. Yeah. So this last video is just another short one. I'm reeling you in here. I think each of these videos is longer and longer. By the end of today, we're going to be watching a 50-minute video together. Don't worry, I don't have any 50-minute videos. But anyhow, this is from A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. This is probably just maybe the first and second paragraph of the book. Very great. You follow the story of Dunk the Tall, Sir Duncan the Tall. He's a great fella. And I will play this right now. I love that intro. It's nothing crazy. I like it. The spring rains had softened the ground, so Dunk had no trouble digging the grave. He chose a spot on the western slope of a low hill, for the old man had always loved to watch the sunset. Another day, he would sigh, and who knows what the morrow will bring us, eh, Dunk? Well, one morrow had brought rains that soaked them to the bones, and the one after had brought wet, gusty winds, and the next a chill. By the fourth day, the old man was too weak to ride, and now he was gone. Only a few days past he had been singing as they rode the old song about going to Goldtown to see a fair maid. But instead of Goldtown, he'd sung of Ashford. Off to Ashford to see the fair maid. Hey ho, Dunk thought miserably as he dug. When the hole was deep enough, he lifted the old man's body in his arms and carried him there. He had been a small man and slim. Stripped of hauberk, helm, and sword belt, he seemed to weigh no more than a bag of leaves. Dunk was hugely tall for his age, a shambling, shaggy, big-boned boy of 16 or 17 years. No one was quite certain which, who stood closer to 7 feet than to 6, and had only just begun to fill out his frame. The old man had often praised his strength. He had always been generous in his praise. It was all he had to give. He laid him out in the bottom of the grave and stood over him for a time. The smell of rain was in the air again, and he knew he ought to fill the hole before it broke. But it was hard to throw dirt down on that old, tired face. There ought to be a septum here to say some prayers over him, but he only has me. The old man had taught Dunk all he knew of swords and shields and lances, but he had never been much good at teaching him words. I'd leave you a sword, but it would rust in the ground, he said at last, apologetic. The sword, the gods will give you a new one, I guess. I wish you didn't die, sir. He paused, uncertain what else needed to be said. He didn't know any prayers, not all the way through. The old man had never been much for praying. You were a true knight, and you never beat me when I didn't deserve it, he finally managed. Except that one time in Maidenpool. It was the inn boy who ate the widow's woman's pie, not me, I told you. It don't matter now. The gods keep you good, sir. He kicked dirt in the hole, then began to fill it methodically, never looking at the thing at the bottom. He had a long life, Dunk thought. He must have been closer to 60 than 50, and how many men can say that? At least he had lived to see another spring. Alrighty. Well, that's the last video I was figuring I'd show you guys. Anyhow, again, it's nothing much else to talk about. But again, I really want to say thanks to all of you guys who have popped into the chat. Thomas, it's great to see you. I look forward to watching your stream in the coming half hour, maybe 20 minutes, Looking forward. I'll be in the chat for that. And AFK Bard, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for your humor and your compliments. They were very much appreciated. Very much appreciated. Hopefully, you guys have a good rest of your day. It's only been about 24 minutes on the stream, and I think it's best to, end it earlier before I wear out my welcome anyhow. Thanks again. It's been very fun. Let me take a look at the Twitter, I guess, Let me just take a look. Hopefully I don't look like a Picasso painting. You know how pixels work, sometimes it gets screwed up, Oh, well, that's nice. The Phantom Collective, they popped on and they took a little screenshot. Oh, yeah, that was fun. Very fun. um, yeah. Let me just take a look here. Let me take a look on the mobile device. Oh, that's very nice of you to say. Mongo is beast level. I'm looking at this on my mobile device. Eventually, the StreamYards will, that comment will shift up. But I guess it is what it is. Anyhow, guys, I'm very glad to be who I am. To be a bright shining star in the world. Of course, it's not really that, but I really enjoy all the interactions that I'm able to have on Twitter and on YouTube. Lots of good stuff can come from those things. I would say if you ever get there's the comment. Mongo is beast level. There we go. I will say if you ever get into an interaction that is not positive, a negative interaction, then I usually just either unfollow or I mute or I block, because, it's like I got too many things to worry about as it is. I don't need to worry about what bing bang booly. Sorry, I'm not trying to speak gibberish. I'm trying to make up some kind of name, but I, you know, I got enough things to worry about without having to deal with Mr. Zim Zamboni over here on Twitter spouting off all this stuff like yada, 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 yada. I got lots of stuff to worry about. Ain't nobody got time to worry about Twitter. If you're going to use Twitter and you got a soft heart like me, then, you cut out the bad and you keep the good stuff. Anyhow, folks, I'm Mongo. It's been very nice. It's been very nice to have a lady in the chat. It's always nice to have a lady in the chat. And it's always nice to have Thomas, It's always nice to have friendly people in the chat. It makes things a little more interesting. But anyhow, folks, I've been yabbering on, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. And I'll see you later. Bye-bye. And hot fire right there. And I'm going to end the broadcast right now.